Hey friends, I'm so happy to see you again. As you can tell by the smiley faces on my face, I'm happy because you are here for another week of our reading project. Remember how I said it was going to take us 3 whole weeks to do it? Awesome. Well, we already did week 1, and now we're in week 2, and we're going to start to add the yarn. Do you remember what yarn is? Here's some yarn I have in my house. It comes from a sheep.
Or in Peru, it might even come from an alpaca.
In our other video this week, we make a stop in Australia on our around the world art journey. So let's look at how people weave in Australia.
You might notice that this Australian weaving is in the shape of a circle, just like our spiral weavings that we are working on for this project. Now, the weavings of Australia have a lot in common with the weavings in Peru, even though they look different. They use different materials. Like here, we can see that instead of yarn, they use grass. They find items in nature, just like Peru, to dye or change the color of these grasses. They find colorful things in nature, like these yellow roots, and they boil them with the grasses. That changes the color so that they can have multiple colors of grasses for their weavings. Let's check out what project they made. Wow! When they put all these circle weavings together, it looks pretty cool. A lot of the weavings in Australia are actually baskets. So they're circle weavings, just like the circle weaving we are going to do for this project.
Super interesting, but now I just want to make my own. So today we're going to return to those painted circles we made last time. Maybe you used a paper plate, or maybe like me, you used cardboard. Well, the paint is dry and it's ready for the second step. We're going to be cutting into these just a little bit, and we're going to be adding yarn. This step can be tricky. I usually do it with K3 students. If you're in K1 or K2, you're probably going to want to have a grown-up help you with this step. If you're in K3, you might want some help too, and that's totally fine.
The basic steps today are 1, mark, 2, cut, and 3, wrap. Let's begin. So for today's project, grab your cardboard circle, or maybe you used a paper plate. Grab the one that you painted from last week. If you don't have a painted one, don't worry about it. Just use just a plain circle is fine. You're also going to want a ruler and also a pencil for our first step, which is marking. You're also going to need a scissors for cutting. You'll also need some tape and my favorite part, yarn. And I have lots of different thicknesses, some thick, some thin, some soft, some rough. Whatever you have is fine. Step number 1 is to mark. So I'm going to mark on the back of my circle. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to figure out where more or less is the center of my circle, and I'm just going to draw a little dot. Then I'm going to take my ruler. If you don't have a ruler, just any sort of straight edge works. And I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw a line from the top to the bottom. Ooh, it looks like I am slicing a pizza. Let's pretend like I'm slicing a pizza. So my first line goes up and down. My second line is going to go side to side, like so. And again, I'm going to cut right through the middle, that little dot that I made. And if you need an adult to help you with that, that's totally fine. Now that I have a line going up and down and another line side to side, it's time to make an X. So I'm going to make a diagonal line going right through the center. And now it's really going to start to look like a pizza. Ooh. All right, and one more going through the center. This time going diagonally the other way, right through the middle. And wow, it looks like I just made a delicious pizza. Let's count the slices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 slices. After we mark, we cut with the scissors. Now, step number 2, to cut. I used a black marker to show you how far in to cut. So it's just a little bit, just about an inch. I made a mistake here, so just ignore that. I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut just a little bit into my pizza slice. And then I'm gonna turn and cut just in a little bit. And I'm gonna go all the way around, cutting my entire circle, all 8 slices. Step 3, wrap with yarn. If you want to pause this video on this image, it might be helpful for you when you get to step 3. Step number 3 is to wrap. So we're going to take some tape and yarn, and we are going to tape the yarn to the back of the circle, right, with the little tail sticking out, and I'm going to tape it right here. Then I'm going to feed that yarn right through that little cut that I just made, like so. There we go. Now I'm gonna flip my circle over and I wanna bring that yarn all the way across, cutting my circle in half, not going to the side or to the side, directly across. So you have a line on the back to guide you to which one that is, or you could ask a grown-up for help because this part is a little tricky. All right, I'm gonna put my yarn in the little cut that I made, and now I'm gonna flip it over again. Now my yarn goes to the next door neighbor. Who's the next door neighbor? Either this guy or this guy. I'm gonna go this way. So on the back, we're going to next door neighbors. Then we flip, boop, and we go all the way across. And now I flip again. Now I have to find the next door neighbor. This one up here. Putting my yarn into the cut. There we go. Flipping it, and now I'm gonna go straight across again. Flip it one more time, and now this is my last next door neighbor. I'm gonna put my yarn in, I'm gonna flip it, and oh, it looks like a pizza on the front. So this one from a pizza, well, it does look like a pizza, but it also kind of reminds me of a star, or it could even be a spider web. Now I'm going to cut my yarn on the back, and I need to cut a little piece of tape as well. Here we go. Boop. And cut the tape and place it on the back. So just like that, I am all finished with today's assignment, which is just adding the yarn in the shape of a star or creating a delicious pizza. All right, if you want something a little bit more advanced, I have done this project with K3 in the past, and we had 15 pieces of yarn. We even had an extra one to get an odd number. If you want to add more cuts and do more lines on the back, maybe a grown-up can help you with that. This is what I will be demonstrating in next week's video, but if you know you like the challenge and you know a grown-up is there to help, you might want to add more lines. All right, friends, so to get ready for next week, make sure you have some yarn. You might want different varieties, some thick, some thin, some rough, some soft. I'm obsessed with yarn, so I have lots of options. I love weaving. You might also want some beads, and you might want some pom-poms, but that's for next week. I'm just giving you a heads up so you can get your materials ready. Because next week, we're gonna do the spiral weaving. Let's take a look at what they'll look like. Ooh la la, I can't wait.
Me and my furry little friend say goodbye. Hope that you have fun with this project. See you next time. Bye.